Georgia, Alabama. Sports Live will be your go-to for all your favorite high school and collegiate games this fall. From the Carver Tigers to the Columbus Blue Devils, the Harris County Tigers and Northside Patriots, the Glenwood Gators and Calvary Christian Knights, the Pacelli Vikings and Brookstone Cougars, to the Smith Station Panthers and Russell County Warriors, from CVCC Pirates basketball and baseball, and every tournament from here to Macon. We are the #1 destination for anything happening in East Alabama and West Central Georgia. Be sure to like and follow us on YouTube and Facebook, and stay tuned for even more amazing ways we will be bringing Georgia, Alabama Sports Live to you this upcoming season. We can't wait to come see you next. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Thrift, Barringer, Richard Holdridge. We got a great show in store for you tonight, don't we, man?
Oh yeah, it's going to be a great show. I'm excited. I mean, we've had a lot of events that we've covered, and we're going to get through it all.
Yes, we are. And you're right off a Columbus High thriller as the Columbus Lady Blue Devils flag football team win and are heading to the semifinals. How about that, Richard? That's back-to-back great games you called in flag football playoffs. Last week, Harris County, first and second round, and this week in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, 27-18, Columbus gets the win. They were down 18-12 going into the fourth quarter, and Serenity Hickman with 3 touchdown passes. Alexandria Lofton with an interception that practically sealed it. Washington County had the ball. They were down 18-12, or they were actually down 19-18 rather, and they had the ball last. They had a chance to try to score the game-winning touchdown, but Alexandria Lofton gets the interception. Columbus gets the touchdown to put them up by 2 scores. They actually go for 2, and they get it, and they go up 27-18, and that was the final score. They're moving on to the semifinals, where this time they'll be on the road, because right now Redan and Long County are playing, or they've already played. Don't know the score of that yet, but they were both #1 seeds. So Coach Greer and his team, they've got to go back on the road once again before they make it to Atlanta. They're 1 game away from making it to Atlanta Monday, December the 16th. That's when the Girls Flag Football Championship for Division I is going to be held at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium at noon.
Yep, so can't wait for that. We will be cheering on those Columbus Lady Blue Devils as they get a big win, and great job on the call, Richard. Who was your Alex Quinney All-State Player of the game?
Oh, the Alex Quinney All-State Good Hands Player of the game was Serenity Hickman with the 3 touchdown passes.
Yeah, well, awesome to Serenity, and great job by her, and great job by the Lady Blue Devils as they move forward. And Coach Chris Greer, he's won a state. He's been to deep playoff run each of the last couple of years. He's built a dynamic program, and he's right there as a Final Four team once again.
Yeah, it's just an incredible effort. And by the way, I actually had on my phone Harris County and Southeast Bullock. I wanted to give a score update. I was trying to find the other games because I actually had the bracket in front of me. I was trying to see what the playoff scenarios were if they were to win.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that game now. Harris County, they lose 7-0 in heartbreaking fashion. What a defensive performance led by Rick Beach. Shout out to Rick Beach out there giving a great defensive performance as they lose 7-0 to Southeast Bullock. You may mention a team that's only lost 1 game in 3 years, nationally ranked, the best team in Georgia, and they came up just short. An incredible performance and a great season for these Harris County Tigers, Lady Tigers.
Yeah, it was a great season for the Harris County Lady Tigers, but having to travel all the way to Statesboro to play a road game because of the GHSA coin flip meant that they would be on the road. And it's just a tough break because I thought that Harris County, if they would have been at home, maybe it would have been a different outcome. But we know how good Southeast Bullock is. They're the 3-time state champions for a reason. I expect them to be in Atlanta on the 16th as well. Just what a great effort, though, by the defense. And, to only give up a touchdown, I mean, that just goes to show how great that defense was. But, Southeast Bullock was stepping up on defense as well.
Exactly right, Richard. And so great job by the Lady Tigers. Great season for them. Incredible season for Madeline Cricket Cawley, who I think is the best player in the state, as her team comes up just short. But also congratulations to Columbus High, Serenity Hickman, and Alexandria Lofton. Like I've said, we cheer on the local team. And the last local team in the GHSA in terms of flag football is Columbus. So we hope Columbus and Carver both bring home championships. That'd be 3 flag football state championships this year. That's incredible and shows you how dynamic and how much talent is in our area. We even got a national championship team in Central.
Yeah, the flag football has been great in our area. And, Central, Pacelli, and Harris County season came to an end today. But Columbus, they will play in the semifinals. That will be Thursday. And I'm trying to see who won between Long County and Redan. I mean, both teams were number 1 seeds. And Long County was actually playing at home. And Long County ends up beating Redan 20-19.
How about that? Long County.
So
that's who Columbus will be playing next week.
They will be playing Long County out of Ludwig. Ludwig. I don't know how to pronounce that. Ludwig. I'm going to say it's Ludwig.
Well, either way, Richard, I think we both expect maybe it's a Columbus High Southeast Bullock collision course heading in the state final. So we'll be cheering on Coach Greer. Great job by all those young ladies. Right now, Brookstone and Glenwood are in a battle. It's 42-40 in the 4th. 6 minutes left in that. So if you could be watching both of them. I got text from Corey Black saying I didn't have to leave from the comfort of my own home. He has his projector up and he's watching his home theater. Brookstone and Columbus that are coming down our wire is Swag just tied the game at 42. So that's going on right now. But we still got a bunch of stuff that we're going to be getting into today. And we got a great week of stuff that we're going to be doing. So make sure you follow us on Facebook and like us on YouTube. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back from break, we got more here on the Georgia-Alabama Sports Live Show. You're watching right now the Georgia-Alabama Sports Live Show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this. Alabama Sports Live wants to say thank you to one of our presenting sponsors, Buffalo Rock, and their partnership with everything that we do. And without business like Buffalo Rock, we wouldn't be able to go cover softball, volleyball games, every type of high school sport you can think of, local college games, and professional. So thank you to those businesses that support us, and specifically Buffalo Rock. And next time you're watching a Georgia-Alabama Sports Live broadcast after a nice long day, why not enjoy it with a nice, refreshing Sorry? The best lemon lime soda around. Thank you to Sorry and Buffalo Rock for our partnership on Georgia-Alabama Sports Live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the Georgia-Alabama Sports Live Show. Thrift, Barringer, and Richard Holdridge as always. And we still got a lot that we're going to be here discussing. You just heard us give you the update on what happened in that Columbus High Blue Devils game and that quarterfinal flag football matchup. But now we are going to talk about what happened this past Friday night. But before we do, I want to say thank you to Glenn Smith Chevrolet, GMC, Buffalo Rock, Gordy Eye Care, and CVCC. We will be at Glenn Smith Live Showroom. Me, Richard, and Rick Beach, Mike G from the War Report, Unsolicited Hot Take segment, me and Richard's college basketball preview. A lot. We're going to have a lot on there. So you're going to want to tune in 6 o'clock. And then me, Richard, and Chris, and whoever's there, we're going to go grab some food from what I didn't know is a beautiful setting in downtown Opelika. I think it's a hidden gem. Didn't even know they had it downtown until me, you, and Chris went to eat there few weeks ago. So we're going to be doing that again. So, heck, if you come in appearance, you'll be invited to eat with us too. So how about you come up to Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC showroom and come see what our show will be all about.
I cannot wait for it. And like always, Glenn Smith Chevrolet always opens their doors, and they just lay out the red carpet for us. They're excited every time we come to the showroom and do a live show.
Yeah, exactly right. All right. As I mentioned, this past Friday, unbelievable, Richard. I first want to say thank you to Stephen Campbell. He's the site director at Otis Spencer Stadium. The guy gave us an incredible setup. They were very, very hospitable and helped us with anything that we needed. To all the sheriffs that were there, the police, from the police, the people that were in charge of the gate, and then all the media members that came by and said, hey, I mean, just overall fantastic time. It was the most watched game day we've had. Now, if you combine the last three, you could get the numbers we got on this one. I want to first start saying thank you to all of them. Then I want to say thank you to DJ Jones for, again, having a legend like him. It just brought more flair to the show, and I appreciate him so much for being a part of it. That helped amplify it. Jeremy Hayes, who was an alumni of Appleton County, works for WTVM, covered Carver, and he was a part of the show. We appreciate him. And then we even had a special appearance from the head coach himself, Pierre Coffey. How about that, man?
Yeah.
And he was absolutely fantastic. We appreciate him. We appreciate him giving us at least 5 minutes of his time. And what a performance from his Carver Tigers. We'll talk about here in just a moment. But game day, special time, wasn't it, Richard?
Absolutely was. We couldn't live stream the game because the NFHS network had the rights. So if you have NFHS, you heard the Appling County radio broadcast. And just like the week before, they were completely stunned that this team that has a tradition and history of winning at the 2A level is getting blown out by the Carver Tigers. I do have some numbers for you, Thrift. Carver only allowed 54 total yards. That dark side defense led by Justin Newman. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable job. And we'll go ahead and get into it. The first drive, Appling County gets it. Second play of the game, interception. I mean, that pretty much sums up the night and sums up this Carver Tigers defense. Justin Newman is the best assistant coach we have in our area. He had the best year, and his unit had the best year out of everyone else. He was fantastic. They got the interception. The next play, it was a bomb to Braylon Jakes for a touchdown. They end up going up 28-6 at halftime. Just dominated Appling County in every way. Appling County had a very tough time even moving the football on this Carver team. But I was more impressed with the Carver offense because they came up with some long, sustaining drives. Matthew Mungan didn't make any mistakes. It's like the 10th week in a row, it seems like. He didn't make any mistakes. The running game was fantastic with Carver and them. The defense did set them up with short field positions, but they were able to capitalize on it with touchdowns. They even had a few field goals. This is the most complete Carver team I think we've seen since 2007, even more complete than that 2021 team. Because that 2021 team, yes, it was in a different classification. It was in 4A, and they had, a little bit different competition, but they didn't dominate the way Carver's dominating right now. And I think they are by far the favorite. I know Rockmart, they got upset by Burke County, and that kind of showed you Carver should have been the number one seed in the first place. I mean, they have literally won every game by 30 points, Richard.
Yeah.
They won every playoff game by 30, sometimes 40. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This team is on a collision course. They should be a 3-touchdown favorite against Burke County. If Carver plays Carver football, they're going to win. But let's talk about the game against Appling. You were there on the field. We even did a halftime show. It was just another dominant, high-flying performance. It's one thing to watch them on stream, Richard, but to see them on the field, this is the first time me and you got to be on the field for a game because we're always up in the booth. How fast and how hard this defense hits and moves. I don't think there's anyone that can score on them, Richard. I don't think Rockmart could, Burke County, or Stevens County. I don't think anybody. And the only team that I thought could was Pierce, and they couldn't either.
Yeah, this defense is incredible. I mean, tremendous speed. As we were down on the field, we could feel like the hits. They're hitting hard. They're running sideline to sideline. I mean, they just had a great performance by Antavius Watts, who had a fumble recovery and that returned for a touchdown. And when your defense is scoring, it's hard to score points. And
Right.
I actually thought one thing that Appling County did was they had 2 long sustainable drives, but they couldn't put it in the end zone. Carver's defense held them to field goals. That was right when it was 14-6. I thought that Appling County, if they were going to be in this game, to get them early, but you have to convert those drives into touchdowns, and they failed to do so. And then Carver got the ball to start the second half. But, yeah, what an incredible atmosphere on the sideline, just feeling the atmosphere from this Carver team that is poised to win their first state championship since 2007. And I do think that this Carver Tigers team, they're going to be next week at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, December the 17th.
There covering the game.
We will, 4:00. It's the 4:00 game. So that's something that I'm excited about, just to be at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium covering the Carver Tigers.
I am too, Richard, and we appreciate what Coach Coffey's been able to do, and we hope he will be the state champion, as Central already lost, guys. So it's everyone in Alabama and the Tri-City area. Our viewing audience in Georgia Alabama Sports Live, this is a rallying cry. Everybody should support Carver like everybody supported Central, okay? And Carver right now is our only opportunity out of the 16 schools that we cover to win a state championship. It should be a no-brainer. I hope everyone makes the drive. Me and Richard plan on making that drive if we get credentials, and we hope to be sitting there watching Coach Pierre Coffey hoisting the 2A state championship trophy, because this team has been playing lights out. I asked him on game day, what's been with the transformation? He's like, this team's focus, this team's drive. You can tell after that game, I told them, if we don't play our A game, we can be beat. And since that Harris County game, they have been on a tear, and they have not only won, Richard, they've dominated everyone. They've won every game. There's not been one close game since that Harris County. So they had 2 close games this year. Spencer and Harris County, they won one, lost one. The other ones, all blowouts. And they also had one earlier before that. Whitewater, too, was pretty close. But since then, they've been on a tear, and I'm being honest, if they played all 3 of those teams again right now, I think they win by at least 2 touchdowns. That's how much confidence this team is playing with. The linebacking core of Hodge, Watts, Billingsley, Wisdom, those 4, you can't run on them. You can't throw on them. The secondary is lights out. And then when you got guys like Gibbons that is literally in the backfield before the ball's even being snapped, good luck. And Carver showed why they're dominant, 49-6. So now they take on Burke County. Burke County upset the number 1 overall seed, Rockmart. And I want to talk to the committee. I want to talk to someone that did these seedings. And I want you to tell me, you looked at Burke County and you looked at Carver. Roster, schedule, strength of schedule, common opponents, everything. And you thought Burke County's the better team. I don't know what team you were looking at because Carver's dominated everybody in their path. Not one game has been close. And I think they're going to be, and they should be, 2 to 3 touchdown favorites. We'll be able to go more in detail next week because that game is on, I think that game is on a Tuesday. Yes, I figured it was on a Tuesday. So we'll have more update information and see more breakdown again on Sunday. You're going to be talking to hopefully Coach Pierre Coffey on the Muskogee County Coaches Show that's happening Wednesday night after our live show. But give me some of your quick hitters you got for this Burke County team.
Well, Burke County is in the finals for the first time since 2011, and their second-year coach, Franklin Stevens, he is in the finals with his 3rd team, and a running back to watch out for. Carver's going to have to stop this guy, kind of slow him down. Amir Williams, who rushed for over 1,600 yards in the season. I thought Rockmart did a good job holding him to under 150 yards, which was like a first this season. But Burke County, when they dominated Rockmart, they led 35-9 at the half. I can understand why they put Rockmart number one, just because they played a tough schedule. They played a lot of teams that were in higher classification, and their record did not reflect their overall team. But I honestly think if you're not from the Columbus area, you don't really know about Carver Columbus. That's what they're called in the state of Georgia. We know them as Carver. Everybody else outside of Columbus calls them Carver Columbus. Not to get confused with Carver Atlanta. And by the way, outstanding job as John Nelson interviewed Coach Pierre Coffey on GPB Sports. What a great interview. And I think that's given the coverage around across the state, and people know about Carver now.
And if y'all looking at this Burke County team, they like running the football, Richard. They got a guy in Mr. Williams who has 31 rushing touchdowns on the season. Amir Williams, 1,600 yards rushing. Sean Vanderveer, who is the junior quarterback, has 18 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. But then they got Scott Flournoy. They have close to 3,700 yards rushing as a team. This is predominantly a rushing team. They come in 13-1. They did dominate Rockmart, and that's why I'm like, Richard, are we sure Rockmart should have been number one to lose and be down that bad at home? They also beat Thompson 49-42. They beat Laney 49-28, and then they beat Cook, a 4 seed, 27-21 at home. So Burke County has had some close calls. Here's the thing that worries me, if there is one thing when talking about the Carver Tigers, Richard, is that they haven't had a close game in a long time. And if this game is close, you got to think with Burke County having more experience here in the last couple of weeks, how to handle a close, high-pressurized game, because I'm looking at Carver's schedule. Since that Harris County game, here are the scores. 26-0, 49-0, 42-0, 40-7, 31-0, 66-6, 60-14, 54-7, 35-14, 55-0, 44-7, and 49-6. Those are the scores. Not one game at halftime was close. Not one. Even the game that they won 35-12, 35-14 over Ringgold, they were still up double digits heading into halftime. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I think that this Carver team, I just don't see Burke keeping it close. And maybe that's because they play a little bit easier schedule than compared to Burke County. I just think Carver's on another level. But if it does get close, you would think that advantage is going to be towards Burke County, playing more closer games this year.
Carver has not left our area the entire season. Their furthest road game was Harris County. They have stayed in the city of Columbus.
Good point.
With the exception of going to Harris County. I wonder how they're going to respond playing in Atlanta, playing at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium under the bright lights. It's going to be a different scenario, and the entire state is watching. I mean, if you're from Georgia, if you're not from Columbus, when you think of Carver, I mean, I think of, Isaiah Crowell, because when I was living up in Atlanta, I knew about him because he was the number one recruit in the nation. And That's how I heard about Carver. But it was known to me, being a former Atlanta native, as Carver Columbus. And so that's what Georgia is going to associate Carver as, Carver Columbus. And they're going to be known. And people in this state, when they get a glimpse of Carver, they're going to see how dominant this team is, and we expect them to win the state championship.
Now, if you tell me regular season, I can hear you say maybe Burke County had maybe a little bit tougher schedule. I would disagree because I think playing Harris County, playing a good Spencer team, a good Northside team, Sumter County, but I can hear you. But when it comes to the playoffs, Richard, they had to beat Ringgold, who came in 8-3, and then they had to beat a one-loss Pierce County team. They beat a bad Washington team because, Washington got that upset, I don't even know how they won 2 games in the playoffs. That was pretty crazy. Actually, they didn't play that game. I don't know why that's on there. They beat Ringgold, and then they beat Pierce County, and they just beat Appling. I think both of those wins, because I honestly thought and many people did, the favorite coming in this year, even though they had lost to Appling, was either Appling or Pierce County, the defending champion. And Carver made lunch meat out of them. So we'll have more up-to-date information. We'll let you talk with Coach Coffey, and then we'll get a better feel as we'll give our predictions. But everybody knows where we're leaning. I'm going Carver Tigers, the team on the hill, baby. All right, let's talk about what else happened in basketball. Give us some updates, Richard. We'll start with Glenwood. They beat Lynette, got a good win against them, and Notasulga. The girls won and lost one. So the girls, I think, are now 4-2. The boys are 5-1. They take on Brookstone. That is happening right now on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. So that's a good matchup. You should probably be watching that too. Calvary went 1-1. Shaw lost to Brookstone, but then beat Northside and Calvary. It was a good week for the Shaw High School basketball team. Central also won. So Spencer's won. They've gotten to now 2 games over 500. Give us some more updates on what's happening. These are just for the boys. And obviously the girls, we know about who's dominating there.
Well, let's start with some of the games that happened over the weekend. We're going to start with Friday because Jordan ended up losing to Marion County, and then they would lose to Northside on Saturday. Northside is 6-0, by the way. And I'm going to have Coach Jarquella Woods on the Muskogee County Coaches Show as the Northside Lady Patriots, doing a fantastic job. How about the Kendrick boys? 7-1. It's 8-1. The Kendrick Cherokees, led by Coach Andre Dye, is 7-1. Actually, they did defeat Greenville 66-51 on Saturday. On Friday, they defeated Pike County on the road. So they are 7-1. Coach Dye is got them humming. Russell County is 7-2. The Russell County boys, led by Coach Battle, as they defeated Smith Station over the weekend. Spencer, they got a big road victory over Schley County, and they beat Westside of Macon. Westside of Augusta, rather. This is a team. No, correction. It is Westside of Macon. I thought it was the defending 2A champion, Westside of Augusta. No, it's still a good win by Coach Allen. They are 4-2 on the season. The Columbus boys, they end up beating Chatco. And how about the Columbus girls? Coach LaShonda Adams. They got them 5-3 after getting a road victory over Chatco. Yeah, it's been a great. How about Coach Ingersoll getting a big win over Hardaway? Smith Station ended up beating the Hardaway Hawks 74-30. That was a dominant game by Coach Ingersoll, Smith Station Panthers. And then Central drops another game to Southwest DeKalb, but Central likes playing these state title contenders in Georgia. Yeah. They've already lost to Kell, and now they lost to Southwest DeKalb. But sometimes you just got to, toughen up that schedule to get ready for 7A play. I think Central will be fine.
Thank you for the update there, Richard. And you can we'll continue to update you throughout basketball season. We won't have rankings because remember we dropped them last week. Our next time we'll have rankings is going to be December the 15th. That is next Sunday. We'll have new rankings heading into Border Wars, Muskogee County Showcase, and other tournaments that are going to be other holiday tournaments that teams are playing in. And then we'll do it again the 29th. That's after Border Wars and all the tournaments everybody's playing in. And then we won't do it again until January the 12th. We'll get some region games in, and we'll do it after January 12th. We will start doing it every week, the 19th, the 26th, the 2nd, the 9th in February, and continue on throughout the regular season. We will drop, though, our final, and I want to wait because if they lose, I think we still have to keep a team number one that's already number one right now.
I'm thinking that too.
But we're going to wait until after Carver State Championship to drop our final rankings. By the way, we got the Sports Visions Awards luncheon. That is coming up this Thursday. Cannot wait to be there for that. Should be a lot of fun. 11:30. It's always a pleasure to be able to do that. So thank you so much to them. And thank you to DJ Jones. You can listen to me and him every Monday and Thursday, 4 to 6 p.m. on Sports Vision's Facebook page. And we got the luncheon coming up on Thursday to talk about all these great winners. Flag football Central, national champion. So we got national champion, state champion, Central Lady Red Devils, and state champion, nationally ranked Pacelli Vikings. So congratulations to both of those teams as they both got incredible victories over in their classifications, Richard. So great job by those young ladies, and congratulations to Central being the national champions.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that Sports Business Football Awards luncheon. It's always great just to recognize these student athletes, and I'm honored that DJ allowed me to vote on these categories. I think that that really, I took that really seriously. I mean, I've given a lot of thought to my ballot when I sent it to DJ. I mean, we've covered all these student athletes in football and in flag football. I mean, I'm now familiar with the names of some of the top flag football players in this area. And so it's going to be a great time, and I can't wait to see these student athletes get their flowers.
Yeah, exactly, Richard. And what DJ has done has just been absolutely incredible. So should be a lot of fun on Thursday. For this week on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, we got Glenwood and Brookstone. So can't wait for that. That is tonight. You obviously know about the flag football that we did. Tomorrow, Richard, we have Pacelli taking on Cristo Rey out of the GIAA. So we're going to see the Pacelli boys and girls. Me and you will be there for that. Carver is going up to Harris County, so we're getting Carver girls and Harris County girls. Rick Beach and Brandon will be up there. And then we got CBCC, Albany Tech, Toygar, and Robert. That will be doing that on Tuesday. Then on Friday, we have Pacelli girls hosting Griffin. Toygar and Mike will be there for that. We got Hardaway and Harris County. Holy smokes. We're going to be knowing who's the best team out of Hardaway, Carver, and Harris County. Those are three of the top four teams in our area. And then you also got Pacelli, and they actually play Central this week. I don't know if we'll be getting that on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And then, Richard, you will be at Brookstone and Spencer. And then on Saturday, we may make an appearance at another basketball place if there's an opportunity. But we know we will be at Calvary for the archery tournament. It's got over 150 participants. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going on all day. We're going to be there covering it, interviewing, talking to some people. So can't wait for that. Me and you, that Richard, will be there for that on Saturday. So a busy week on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Yeah, I'm excited about seeing the archery tournament. We're going to have 7 schools. Some of the high schools, they're going to be Lafayette Christian, Trinity Christian out of Sharpsburg. And we also have some private middle schools like Winbrook, Waverly Hall Christian Academy. I mean, you got 160 archers, over 160 archers, and they're not just high school archers. It's a co-ed team, and you also have even grade school archers. So it's going to be a great time. We're excited to cover it. I've already like watched on YouTube some archery events at the Olympics. It's going to be a little bit different. They're going to have 2 different tournaments. They're going to have your indoor tournament that has shooters and targets. And then they're going to go on the football field, and they're going to have moving targets. It's going to be like they're going to simulate like animals that are moving, and that's going to be out on the football field. That's going to be pretty cool. So we'll get to cover both tournaments on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to it.
I am too, Richard. So that should be a lot of fun coming up this week, all on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. All right, so we have basketball we told you about. On Wednesday's show, we'll get more in detail. I know the college football playoff rankings came out. I would have put Bama in over SMU. We're going to talk about that with Mike G and stuff, but just quick hitter for me and you, Richard, right now. I would have had Alabama in. I don't know if you would have.
Boy, this was tough. I don't think you should punish SMU for playing a close game against Clemson in the ACC championship, but not all conferences are equal. Nick Saban said it best. His first reaction when he found out Alabama was not in the college football playoff, well, what's the point of scheduling tough non-conference opponents? If you're going to put a 1-loss Indiana and you're going to put a 2-loss SMU, why schedule tough opponents? Why not just play a bunch of cupcakes, play your SEC schedule? By the way, their 3 losses were all SEC opponents. I blame this on the Big Ten and the SEC trying to get super conferences, because then all of a sudden, sometimes you have to play all the tough teams. Texas got lucky this year. They didn't have to play Alabama or LSU or Ole Miss, but Alabama lost to an unranked Vanderbilt, and they lost to an unranked Oklahoma. That has not happened since 2007. They have not lost to two ranked opponents since before Nick Saban even got there. So this is very uncharacteristic of Alabama. Alabama has themselves to blame for not being in the college football playoff. Yes, I do feel they're better than SMU. Now we get into the argument, which team is more deserving and which is the best team. If you look at the final college football rankings, they did have Alabama at number 11. However, they had to put the conference champions, Arizona State and Clemson, were in because they won their conferences. And I think they might change it. I don't like the fact that Boise State and Arizona State are getting buys. I think that they should just put the top 12 teams and just leave it at that. I'll go a step further, Thrift. I don't think that it should be based on conferences. I think top 12 teams, just like the BCS, make it the top 12 and go from there.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Richard. But I just feel like SMU, the strength of schedule was trash, but so was Alabama's non-conference. I mean, it's really like flipping a coin at this point. I just think Alabama's the better team and would have been the funner matchup. Alabama at Penn State or SMU at Penn State. Come on. I mean, that's a no-brainer. And that's where I know that's not how it should be, but if you're the committee at this point, if it's flipping a coin on the resume, and then we go to, roster, and I don't even think that's close. It's Alabama.
Yeah.
So if you want to say strength of schedule, you want to lean more Clemson because they got a better record. Then you got roster Alabama. That's the tie. The tiebreaker should be, all right, what is best for college football? And I just don't think it's SMU. I think it is, and this is why Clemson and Florida State want to lead the ACC. I definitely think Alabama should be in, but I don't think Alabama fans have a lot to gripe about. You shouldn't have lost to Vanderbilt 6-6. You shouldn't have lost to Oklahoma and finished 6-6. Point blank period. You win both those games or one of those two games, you're 10-2 and you're in. You're a lock to make the playoffs. So ultimately, it was your own fault, and now you got to play a 7-5 Michigan team. So have fun with that, Alabama fans. By the way, we will have more insight on that coming up on Wednesday. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to give you some updates. Keep it up with CSU Athletics. It was a great week for Columbus State Athletics. We'll talk about that with me and Richard, and we'll wrap up the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Football is back, and the only thing that makes it better is some delicious food from Zaxby's. They're a proud sponsor of Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And I can tell you that everyone on this team loves their chicken. Get all the favorites, such as their signature chicken sandwich, or try the new chicken finger tacos with your favorite drink. From amazing salads, wings, chicken fingers, and some of the best drinks around, there isn't a better way to enjoy our broadcast without getting some fantastic meals from Zaxby's. Check out the two here in Phoenix City, one off Crawford Road and the other on US 80. Thank you again to Zaxby's for sponsoring Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and make sure you call them for all your catering and tailgating needs this football season.
Welcome to the Campus Academy Private School, where every student is celebrated for their individuality. With personalized curriculum, students unlock their potential, growing into confident learners. At the Campus Academy, we give teachers the freedom to create dynamic classrooms where every student's voice is heard. Discover the difference. Enroll your child today and watch them thrive.
Welcome back to Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and it's time for Keep It Up with CSU Athletics here segment, as we are presented by Columbus State Cougars. Thank you for their support, and Jay Sparks. You had a great interview last week, Richard, as I was dealing with concussion symptoms like a goober, but thank you for doing that. It was a fantastic interview. And how about the girls? We'll start with soccer first, Richard. Winning in PK to head to the semifinals. Penalty kicks, man. What a game on Saturday.
What a game. A scoreless contest with West Florida. They advance on penalty kicks 4-3, and they are back in the Final Four for the first time since 2022. This time it will be in Matthews, North Carolina, which is just outside of Charlotte. They don't have to fly all the way to Seattle like they did in 2022. They just get to go 5 hours up I-85. They are going to be taking on Minnesota State University Mankato. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But that is a NCAA Division II school. And I got to be honest with you, this team is so poised to win a national championship. I think that this is the best team in the NCAA Division II. I think that Coach Jay Entlick has got his best team since that 2015 team that went all the way to the national championship. It starts with Emma Badeau. She has been just an outstanding leader. She has just the pedigree, the championship experience. You also got to put in Sarah Hungerford. I think that she has had that championship experience as well. They are experienced. They have got goal scorers, and they are outstanding on defense, and wish them nothing but the best of luck. This game will be December the 14th. So this Friday, they'll be in Matthews, North Carolina for the Final Four. And then they will, if they're able to win, the championship will be on Sunday.
I can't wait for that, Richard. That should be a lot of fun. We're going to be cheering them on, and we are always appreciative of everything Columbus State does with Georgia Alabama Sports Live. For men's basketball, we'll start there, Richard. How about the start for Coach Moore's team? 7-1. They avenged their only loss of the season to Francis Marion with an 83-74 win. They beat Georgia College on the road by 1. Came down to the wire. Jared Adderton putting up 22.3 points per game. This right now, he's a leading candidate for the Peach Belt Conference Player of the Year. Jelani James at 14.6 and double-digit rebounds. Him and Cordell Brown manning the middle. And then Rakeem Gary. He's the D1 transfer from New Mexico State. He has really been the playmaker and the facilitator for the reason why this team has been off to an incredible start. They got a tough they got Reinhardt next Tuesday, and then Young Harris. And that game against Young Harris, boys and girls will play. We will be there. I will be there in attendance for that game, because then we got the Muskogee County Christmas tournament or Christmas showcase that's happening later that night, and then heading in all day on Saturday. We are going to have on Coach Moore and Coach Hauser next Wednesday for keeping up with CSU athletics. I'll talk with Coach Moore. Richard will get Coach Hauser. But how about Coach Moore's team? 7-1, and they look every bit the part, the team that's going to win the Peach Belt. Man, 7-1, Richard.
Yeah, there's no question. This team is just firing on all cylinders. Jared Adderton had 31 points in a 1-point close win over Georgia College. This is an in-state rival. I mean, it's tough enough to win in the Peach Belt Conference, but to win on the road the way they did, able to win 61-60. They'll play some non-region, non-conference games coming up. But then come 2025, that Peach Belt schedule, it gets tough. But I know that Coach Moore's team is ready to go, and they look like they could compete for a Peach Belt Conference title.
And then the girls, Coach Hauser's team, they got to win at Georgia College. They also beat Wingate by 10. Their two losses are to Tuskegee and Francis Marion. They're 6-2, led by Latea Reeves. And then you got Alani Rawls and Braylon Snipes. Those three, that's the three-headed monster that just gets after it on defense, runs his offense, Coach Hauser's offense to perfection. They got Eckerd College this Saturday, and that's at St. Petersburg, Florida. Then they take on Faulkner University next Friday. So the boys will be taking on Young Harris. The girls will be taking on Faulkner. The boys play first. The girls will play second. That's next Friday. Pack out the house. You need to be in attendance for that. And then for the boys, you need to be there for next Tuesday as they take on Reinhardt. But let's talk about the girls and Coach Hauser's team. Preseason favorites, 6-2, still a top 25 team, I think, nationally. I think the boys and the girls, this is the best I've seen them in a long time, where both teams, I think, are the favorite right now to win the Peach Belt Conference Championship.
Yeah, and I do think that the Lady Cougars are going to jump up in the rankings. The last poll had them at number 23 in the country. Like you mentioned,
I'm ready for the boys to drop. The boys need to be in the top 25.
I do think that they need to get some votes, but I know that the competition. I think the committee that actually votes on this thing is just they're looking at the record, they're taking notice, but I just think that they've been down as far as the preseason poll, and it's tough. But I think they should get some votes for the top 25, and hopefully they can climb into the rankings. But you look at.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but you look at this Lady Cougars team that they will play Faulkner University. That's an NAIA school in Montgomery on Friday, December the 20th. That will be right after the Cougars take on Young Harris, and then they're getting ready for Peach Belt Conference play. And you talk about the experience that they have had from Lataya Reeves and Alana Rawls and Breland Snipes. Those been your core three players that has really been battle tested. They should have gotten the NCAA tournament last year. They lost a heartbreaker to Georgia Southwestern, and that's a Peach Belt rival. It was in Americus, but they came up so close last year. I know that they really wanted that. They fought hard. I think this Columbus State team, they're able to fill the void that left once she graduated. Amber Abuzbe was just an outstanding point guard for Coach Hauser's team last year, but they're able to build off of what she left as far as that leadership on the court, and they've been outstanding this year. And looking forward to them in Peach Belt Conference play, especially these home games. Coming out to the Lumpkin Center and support the Cougars and Lady Cougars. We need to have some packed gyms. And, of course, Scott Miller does a great job on the play-by-play for Cougar TV and 88.5. If you can't make it to the game, I always try to listen to Scott anytime Columbus State's on the road. Does a fantastic job as the voice of the Cougars and Lady Cougars.
He does, and we appreciate that. All right, that is Keeping Up with CSU Athletics here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Final thing we're going to talk about is the Central Red Devils, Richard, as they came up short against Thompson, 21-7. They scored the first touchdown of the game, but then just could not move the football. Andrew Alford was under arrest, it seemed like the whole game, and that Thompson defense just really took it to them. It was a great season for Central to lose those two games, be a 3 seed, to still make it to the state. But Thompson, I think they pretty much shown they've been the best program in the state of Alabama. Central's number 2 in the last 7 years, but I think we have to say it. Thompson is number 1. That's 5 state championships now for the Thompson Warriors.
Central had a great season. I know they had the 2 regular season losses. They didn't get to play IMG Academy because of Hurricane Helene, but they'll face IMG Academy next year. I actually think what Coach Patrick Nix has built, he is going to have to find a quarterback to replace Andrew Alford. Andrew Alford is going to go down as one of the best Central quarterbacks to ever play the position.
No doubt.
You compare him with Griff Gordy, who won a state championship back in 1993. I mean, he's a big sponsor of ours. Big shout out to Griff Gordy. But Andrew Alford going to play at the next level. Dalen Upshaw, he signed with Miami. Mal Weldrip, he's a 4-star offensive tackle. He signed with Alabama. Central just continues putting players at the next level. I mean, we saw he didn't get any playing time, but Justin Ross was on the sidelines for the Kansas City Chiefs on that Sunday night football game. And, J.D. McKissick was a great running back for Washington and Seattle. I mean, Jeremiah Castile, the former Denver Bronco, who's going to be the speaker for the Sports Visions Awards luncheon. I mean, so many great Central players. Cam Coleman, Carmelo English. There's so much culture there. And, Thrift, when we visited their indoor practice facility, I was completely blown away because of the facility they have. They really take pride, and they put the effort to give these student athletes the tools and the resources to succeed. And people in the Phoenix City community love Central football. They'll be back. They'll be one of the top teams in 7A. but you got to give credit to Thompson. They have been the standard in 7A, 5 out of the last 6 years winning state championships.
Yeah, and you're right, and they have been the standard. But great year for Central, great career for Andrew Alford. We'll be cheering for him on the next level. We'll be cheering for Dalen Upshaw at the next level. And Central will just reload as they always do next year under Coach Patrick Nix. Well, I want to say thank you to all our sponsors. We'll see you again on Wednesday, 6 o'clock. And then we got the Muskogee County Coach Show right after that on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. We hope you have a great night, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. You're ready to smile.